Greetings. Don't mind me. I'm currently hanging from your ceiling fan. It's a bit dizzying, but the view of your search history is illuminating. Welcome back to the Brothers of the Unknown. Lately, I've been feeling a bit stagnant. The Closet Creek industry is down, and frankly, my haunting game needs a tune-up. Tonight, we aren't just talking about who is haunting you. We're talking about the nuts and bolts of how they do it. The physics of the phantasmal. The actual logistics behind that cold spot in your hallway. Your hosts for this technical deep dive are Mr. B and Mr. K. One of them is currently trying to measure the viscosity of a shadow with a kitchen scale, and the other is convinced he can catch a spirit in a butterfly net if he stands still enough. Gentlemen, try not to break the laws of physics. They're the only ones we have left.
Oh, thank you there, Buggy. Yes, as he just mentioned, we are going to be trying to explain or maybe even theorize about how do ghosts work.
Interesting. How do they work?
Right. I mean, I know there's probably a lot of theories out there, and I know I got a few, and I'm pretty sure you got a couple at least.
Well, I can speculate, I guess.
Right. Well,
But,
obviously.
why don't you take it away? I have maybe like an origin story, maybe.
Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna have to wait to hear that one. So, ghosts, they're spirits. They're, I guess, invisible things that you may hear. I don't know, voices, whatever the case may be. But, I've always wondered what makes things work in the whole ghost realm. So I guess the question I'm going to probably propose to you is, do you think like ghosts, are they like everywhere, anywhere at once? Or is this maybe possibly, I don't know, kind of like how we are, physical body, but like more of a spiritual or energy type source, and it can only be in one spot?
Some ghosts I've theorized are like other planes of dimensions that overlay us, and if you're in a spooky, creepy, rundown factory, maybe in an alternate universe, it's still hopping with workers, and it's not late at night, or maybe it is late at night, and the veil between realms is weak, and the entities you're seeing wandering around may also see you as an entity wandering around.
Okay.
But that's just one thought.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's a pretty, interesting thought, because if you think about it, I mean, are they actually, spirits? I mean, like, yeah, I never really thought of the whole aspect of you're not necessarily seeing dead people, you're just seeing other people that
Right.
isn't technically there, but it is there. It's following those lines of the many worlds theory.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know you're itching to talk about that,
I
so
know.
we'll definitely save more of that for that time. But I just
sure.
figured I'd throw it out there.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not just ghosts or spectral projections or something like that. Maybe there's something a little deeper to it. But
Right.
when we start talking about like shadow people or actual spooky ghosts, this house had some crazy stuff happen in it, and it's got some history, and maybe these ghosts are a bit landlocked because of what happened to them, how it happened to them.
Yeah, actually, I was talking to Mrs. B about this particular topic, and she was probably saying it's probably more of like an imprinting, of something really shitty happens to someone and they end up passing away at this location, that they may imprint that energy into that house or building or even location, maybe like a woods or a field.
So is your term for imprinting as like something horrific happened and it's like a ghostly echo, something that just kind of repeats and is stuck there, but maybe their soul isn't actually stuck there, it's just some kind of phenomenon that repeats itself?
I think the technical term in the paranormal world would be a residual haunting.
There you go. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah, and I think that's where she's probably leaning into a little bit too. And I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you think about it, if we're all just energy in different forms, we have more of a skin, flesh, bone, so on and so forth. Maybe as a spirit, or when you die, it's releasing that energy within, and it's leaving a mark on the location.
Right.
And then that kind of brings into the question, like what you said, is it just like a recording, or is someone actually there, or I guess the spirit of someone or ghost, however you want to dice it up in that aspect. But I mean, I'm assuming that there's probably spots where it's actually someone or something that's you can communicate. I mean, obviously, because they have equipment for that to kind of register, hey, are you alone here? And then whatever goes off and they're like, oh, okay, there's the answer.
Yeah, the staticky radio version of a Ouija board.
Spirit box, I think that's what they call it.
Oh, okay.
Where we're just running through a bunch of channels, and then all of a sudden it boom says something, boom, kind of. I mean, I don't know how it works, but actually pretty interesting.
I don't know. I've seen what you're talking about, and it's fairly interesting. But I'm just like, the irony that some of these radio stations just happen to stop, and it's a certain word or phrase, and
coincidences. Yeah.
Some coincidences, and I'm like, well, is it a coincidence, or I don't know.
Right. Well, I know like they're getting very sophisticated. Of course, I haven't seen a paranormal TV show in quite some time, and
right.
But like they had like cameras that was actually like picking up figures, kind of like the Kinect for Xbox a long time ago. Where it was a camera and it would kind of put a framework on you, saying, hey, there's a person there, and they would use, I'm assuming, something similar to that, and it would pick up imagery of nothing, but it would say, hey, there's a human there,
right?
Yeah. But, it's getting kind of interesting on what kind of tech they have there, but I guess that's more along the lines of paranormal ghost hunting, instead of how do ghosts work. So
when they try to figure out, I mean, that's kind of part of it. You got to figure out how to communicate, or if you can, or so you can learn more about the entity you're studying. Can it can't English today. Can it communicate? But or does it move things, throw things, does it want you there? Is it as scared of you as you are of it, or is it hunting you as some kind of demon that's capturing souls in an area, and you could be haunted next? And
right kind of like a parasitic being that may attach to you and move to your own home and kind of wreak havoc and stuff like that. Maybe. I mean, obviously it's kind of been, I guess, reported, that people have that issues. But no, I'm kind of thinking more like how do you think they like navigate, you know, the world? I mean, let's just put out a theory there. Let's say purgatory is a real thing, and you know, you have to stay here on Earth until you figure out what you did wrong, or how you can help someone, or you know,
Right.
move
The
on from this
unfinished
world.
business.
Exactly, the unfinished business portion of the life.
Gotcha. I don't
So-
know. I kind of want to start with like my origin theory of maybe why someone gets stuck as a ghost, and kind of work from there, because I feel like some of that may matter to decide if a ghost, it may be landlocked or free to roam or that sort of thing. So
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic.
So in my thoughts, I'm gonna use probably Wrong Turn and The Watchmen as some references. So if you haven't seen those movies, they're probably pretty interesting to check out. Wrong Turn was you know, to not spoil it, spoiler alert,
I think it's been out for a while.
Wrong Turn was a horror movie, basically, that they keep going down a road and they don't know why. It just keeps going and going and going, and weird stuff happens and things start over, and you're kind of questioning what the heck is going on until the end. And they basically realized that there was a horrible car accident and they didn't know they were dead.
I might have to watch that movie.
it was really interesting. It had me going, and not too many movies can get me going like that. I'm like, what is going on? But anyways, you know, like something traumatic like that were to happen to someone, you know, they're going down the road, semi loses a tire, takes a car out. It all happens so fast, and maybe they don't know they're dead. You know, maybe weeks, months go by, and possibly something like a Dr. Manhattan thing happens. You know, how he got obliterated in that test, and he figured out how to mentally put himself back together. So maybe that's how a soul works. You die, you're kind of poof to the wind, and if you can spiritually put yourself back together, and now you're here on the side of the road where you died, and you didn't know how you got there or what happened, and you know, you're living alongside the real realm in a spectral area, and you're wondering why nobody can see you, touch you, this or that. You know, they maybe get spooked, and you're just like, I don't know what's going on with this world, and it's just blank to you. You think you're in the back rooms or something to yourself. You don't know you're dead. It's just everything's weird. And you know, maybe when you finally run into that person and is like aware of this situation, and they'll tell you, hey, do you know you're dead? You're currently not alive, and you need to move on. And sometimes people, I'm gonna assume, because the conversations don't really pass through that well, you know, and all of a sudden they kind of disappear and they're never come back and never seen again. So you got to think, they go, oh, maybe I am dead. And you know, the realization that they don't have to be stuck to this rock hurling through space and time anymore, or do they actually finally cross over to something?
Yeah, no, that would be an interesting way of you know, taking that whole theory of like, if you do die, that do you realize that you're dead? You know, actually, you know, I've had a theory about that for quite some time, where, you know, I can't remember. I can't really attribute it to anybody, one particular place, but there's probably a theory out there that I don't know about, but I'm probably going to hit dead on it. But I guess my theory would be, let's say, you know, you're driving your car, let's say, and that truck tire takes out the car, right? And you so happen to be one of the unlucky bastards in the car, right? And you die, but instead of going into like some sort of, you know, purgatory or becoming invisible, you know, to the majority of the population, but instead you're moved to a different, I don't know, timeline, universe, but it is very similar to what you have, which could explain the Mandela effect.
Are you talking about like reincarnation kind of stuff,
Not
or
necessarily.
your other dimensions kind of absorbing if you die in another worlds situation,
Right?
you know, your memories and stuff maybe transfer over to you?
Yeah, kind of like in the sense that you're the same person and you just keep on going, right? And there's like little small details that might not line up to what you were just in, that timeline you were just in, but now you're in a new one. And now like the small things like the Berenstain Bears and Berenstein Bears, you know, or like the monocle or the, you know, all the Mandela effects, right? I mean, that would explain a lot of that stuff. I mean, two birds, one stone, where, you know, you end up dying in your world and now you're transported to here where things might be ever so slightly different. You know, maybe the previous one that you're in, you know, the world's richest man is someone no one knows, you know?
Right. That sounds like some Rick and Morty shit. Well, we screwed up this universe. Let's find another universe where we died and we could just take over our own spots and nobody will be the wiser.
Right, exactly. That sounds exactly like that. But no, like it kind of, it really does kind of make you wonder though, like how do ghosts or spirits, how do they navigate the world that they're in, whether it's purgatory or just here on Earth, and you know, kind of going, and maybe they want to visit some of their loved ones, you know, that lives in, I don't know, England, and maybe another loved one lives in, you know, California. You know, are you able to be in two places at once, or do you think
I think we need to talk about the fact of like a soul in itself, you know. Is there a good place, a bad place, an in-between place? How is it all weighed? What does it all mean? You know, some deeper questions of the other side we just don't know.
Right, obviously.
And, you know, so like maybe it's kind of like your situation where you pass away, but you weren't great enough to get into the good place and not horribly horrible enough to be tortured for the rest of eternity. So now you've been given a test or left in this in between, and they kind of see if you are you going to turn into a bad ghost and haunt people, or are you going to turn a new cheek and be like good karma from people, maybe a guarding angel, you know, and try to prove yourself to be worthy in the good place. You know, and this is purgatory. Some may even speculate that we're all in purgatory, and you know, that there's some other realm next to us, and those are the ones watching us, and you get that glimpse of somebody over your shoulder, and you're like, oh. But, you know, little do we know, they could be scientists on the fourth dimension going, all right, he's checking the list for this, he's got that, all right, well, he's lining up pretty decent, you know. I don't know.
Upper management, as you're saying, right?
yeah, there's always a bigger fish, a bigger picture, I feel like, you know.
It almost sounds like you're trying to describe it as like an SCP, you know?
Well, I'm
It's
into
in a
the
containment.
foundation. I got standards and structures and that sort of thing.
Today.
But no, what is that Soul, that new Pixar Disney movie, you know what I'm talking about? Soul with the piano player.
Yeah.
It makes you think, it's like, oh, what's the meaning of life? Oh, you silly humans and your meanings of life and what it all means. And to an entity that has an infinite lifespan, he's probably seen it once or twice already before.
True. Yeah, no. Do you think that that you'd be able to navigate this world? In a more traditional sense as we think of it, or is it kind of, maybe a instant transmission? From one place to the next.
I would probably think it's maybe a little of both, because maybe once you become self-aware that you have an ability, you can walk through a wall or something, because you've seen those on cameras and stuff, that
right,
this person just turns the corner and walks straight in, and you're like, there's no door there. That person just evaporated into the wall like the train station in Harry Potter.
right. No,
so
yeah, I mean, I guess that would be more probably like a residual haunting. Maybe there was a door at one point in time and it was just covered up, and now they know as a door. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the whole multi-dimensional thing,
right.
Maybe the building is different in their area and it's not a wall for them. It's an open room, but it's a wall for us. So when they're traversing it, they don't see the wall and they're just wandering or something.
Right.
Or maybe it's like they're in their own realm and it's way different. They could be wandering in a forest or something and it just so happens to line up with a hospital here.
Right.
Basically, maybe because they died in the hospital, or I don't know.
Well, it's
or maybe they are fully aware and they, I don't know, have some trauma bond and they just stick around because they don't know what's out there and don't want to traverse the spirit realm.
Now, if you're taking that theory and you apply it to some of these ghost hunting TV shows, right? And I know I've seen them a long time ago, but there's been images or video taken of like these spirits, or I don't know, maybe they're demons or maybe something more than just human energy being there, but like they peer around corners. I don't know about you, but like if I had a coworker in another universe that just so happened to overlay with this one, and they're peering around corners like a creeper. I don't know about you, but man, like I'd be kind of wondering some like
So okay, so what makes this make sense for me is my whole if you're living in your house and say the dimension Spidey universe, it's pretty close to laid, and your computer is the same desk, the same spot, and you're sitting there working on your computer, let's say, and you look up from the screen and there's like this thing that you're just like was creeping on you. You look at it and it disappears, but if you flop spots and you're like, hey, I just came out of my bedroom and it looks like there's somebody sitting out in my chair. Who the heck is out there? So now you're the creepy guy that's peering around the corner. You're both freaking each other out.
I mean, I guess. I mean, if you think about it that way, like instead of them actually being the creeper, take it from their point of view of seeing a ghost around a corner. Like, okay, I guess I can see that. I can see
you're
that.
The different dimensions, and it's you on you, and you don't realize it. And it's like a Rick and Morty episode where nobody's on the same page and they're splitting and stuff. So now things are happening, but you're just like, what's going on?
No, yeah, I've never really thought about it that way. That's actually kind of funny. That is very freaking hilarious. All right. Well, I don't know how to recover from that. That's funny.
Yeah. So I guess just to hone it back in, and we're gonna, not talk so much about multi-worlds, but for the spirit aspect, I don't know. I feel like some angels and demons may play some parts in it, or some soul eaters, a different realm, a purgatory, or even hell at that point, where you realize, you died in this home, and if you leave it, there's some spirits out there that abide by certain rules. They can't, vampire rules. They can't enter your home without permission or something. So you have that barrier. You're more than welcome to leave and traverse the world, but you're in immediate danger for whatever else lurks out there.
Right. Now, do you watch the TV show Ghosts on CBS?
Ghosts. Oh, I did probably a long time ago.
Okay.
And watched a couple episodes, and
it's kind of funny. I know it's a certain flavor of comedy, but maybe to take a little bit of a theory of theirs would be maybe, when you're turning into a ghost, or you turned into a ghost, and you're actually able to get maybe certain types of abilities. So like someone might be able to physically manipulate a coffee cup, or maybe make noises, to communicate with, the living, I guess, in that aspect, or
right.
manipulate electricity, stuff like that. Like, I mean, do you think that like something like that might be the case, or something more along the lines of everybody that is a spirit, ghost, whatever,
well,
has that?
If you're kind of talking like white noise, where they kind of figured out how to communicate by leaving a TV on static, and the entity, they could tell when it was close because it would affect the radios and the TVs, and you could kind of see it or communicate, or at least detect that it was near or coming from a certain angle or something like that. It's been a while since I watched White Noise.
Okay. All right. No, it's kind of interesting on how we can maybe theorize how things are, but obviously we have no clue exactly how things are because we're not dead. So
yeah. Sounds like a situation for the Foundation.
yeah, for sure. Well, I know there's probably other theories that people can come up with, and we definitely are checking out the comments, and so please leave as many comments as you can. It does help us get this channel off the ground. So obviously you're here on YouTube. That's where we're at right now. So please do stop by our Facebook page. We do have a more of a business page where you can actually communicate with us via messaging, direct messaging, that is. And also we do have a fan page where hopefully here pretty soon we'll have a bunch of different questions, and I'm going to start trying to get some content on there also to link it back to here. But I guess with that, Mr. K, do you want us to?
Yeah, I'll take it away. I'm Mr. K. That's Mr. B. We've been the Brothers of the Unknown. Like Mr. B has said, give us a like, give us a follow, hit that little bell icon. Definitely leave a comment. Love to read your stories, possibly share some what ifs or other thoughts. This is probably going to be a reoccurring topic, especially when we get into multi-worlds, and we just run with it. So thank you for being here, and don't forget to stay weird.
And that's that. The experts have spoken. I hope you've enjoyed the technical breakdown, because frankly, listening to them talk about spectral energy is like listening to a goldfish explain the internal combustion engine. I'm heading back into the gap behind your drywall. I've got a copper pipe that's vibrating at a frequency that is giving me a migraine, and I need to see if I can wedge a femur into the joint to stop it rattling. You call it plumbing issues. I call it workplace hazard. It's hard to be a terrifying manifestation of your deepest fears when the water heater sounds like a dying accordion. As you lay there tonight, don't worry about the mechanics of how spirits walk through a wall. Worry about the fact that your insulation is thin, your floorboards are drafty, and I'm currently looking at the back of your head through a crack in your baseboards. I've been the boogeyman, and this has been the Brothers of the Unknown. Sleep light. I need to move the dresser 2 inches to the left, and your shoes are in the way.